go into what the dream is that Mike and I have. Yeah, we love the mountains of Tennessee. We love this area so much. When it came time to look at, where did we want to go, we thought about different places all around the country and looked into taxes and restrictions and all these things. And we love North Carolina. I grew up in Banner Elk, North Carolina, and Burnsville, North Carolina. And we have vacation there. It's not uncommon if we want to go on a day trip somewhere that we end up at some point in North Carolina. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. With taxes and a whole host of other things, though, the Tennessee side is pretty awesome. Mike currently works for this amazing company called Smoky Mountain Outdoors. They are not a supporter of this channel that I know of, nor will they be probably. But if you want to go whitewater rafting in the Smoky Mountains on the Tennessee side, there are only 2 companies I would recommend you go to. One is Nantahala Outdoor Center. NOC is an amazing company. They do a great job of training their guides. They have an amazing safety record. They do rafting at the Nantahala, North Carolina, the Chiola. They do the French Broad, the Pigeon River, and the Chachuga. I think I listed all of them. And they have other types of adventure activities that you can do with them. My niece June worked for them. I volunteer worked for them and gave massages. Oh, a Coe in Tennessee. Sorry, I almost forgot that one, which is where I helped out. So my niece has worked there. We've rafted there. They are, I volunteer worked there. It's a wonderful company. And so that would be one choice if you were to go whitewater rafting in Tennessee on the Pigeon River. The other option, the only other option I would consider, and I would actually choose it first, would be Smoky Mountain Outdoors. Why would I choose it first? For the Upper Pigeon, it is the longest trip, which means it's longer than the NOC. Now, NOC is the second longest trip on the Upper Pigeon, so, pretty close. Similar, just like NOC, Smoky Mountain Outdoors has a marvelous safety record. The guides are very nice and friendly and very well trained. The outpost is, I think, the best outpost on the Pigeon. You do have Foxfire Campground, but as far as ease of access and friendliness and everything, just Smoky Mountain Outdoors, hands down, that's the one to go rafting with. So my husband, and it's not just because my husband works there. Even if he doesn't work there, I'd still only recommend Smoky Mountain Outdoors and Nantahala Outdoor Center because the safety record is a big component there. Knowing how they treat their guides, knowing their advertising and marketing features, and there's a few other companies that I won't name, and their tactics, it makes it look like it's going to be cheaper, but then when you add in the river fees, and some of them charge higher river fees, which is weird because the state charges, or county, state, charges a set dollar, so why they would have river fees higher than what NOC or SMO has, but ultimately NOC and SMO. Now, as I was saying though, my husband works here. He is the group reservation manager and the night manager, and I think this is probably one of the better jobs. I mean, Sam Ash was amazing. He loved Sam Ash. This is a job that's similar to Sam Ash, you know, can easily see lasting for years. But you never know, you know. Life definitely mixes things around. For me, my job is being an adjunct professor. That's what it's been for the last 11 years. I mean, there was some massage in there was some other entrepreneurial stuff in there, but I've been a professor, and I want to remain a professor, and I think I mostly want to remain online unless I can get something locally in person. Now, moving towards our goal, which was the whole point of this conversation, we want to be in this region. We love the area. We love the people we have met. Everything is just very nice. And where we want our property is somewhere probably in Cobb County, because it seems nice. I want my creek. Taxes are decent. Sevier County, Blount County, Jefferson County, Hamlin County, all of the counties in and around Knox and between Knox and the Smoky Mountains, all of them have so much to offer. We're working towards having 5 to 10 acres. And yes, the company my husband works for does rafting and camping and has a campground. Our goal is to have our own. To have, I mean, we don't want to do rafting or those types of things. My husband does music. He has been a sound engineer. He has had a studio set up and done studio work and jamming and plays multiple instruments. I have been a massage therapist and been a professor and am one. And so our goal is to have 5 to 10 acres somewhere here in the Smoky Mountains. I mean, if it's over on this side near the Pigeon River, or closer to Gatlinburg, or closer to Seven Islands Birding Park, or to Panther Creek Park, something down towards Townsend. I mean, there's some neat ideas of what we could do if we went down towards Townsend. But we want 5 to 10 acres. We want on that 5 to 10 acres. Okay, so we want the music area. Music area will consist of a studio for recording and editing and engineering, and music area will consist of both a covered and open, covered meaning like on a pavilion on a deck, and an open area for jamming and to have small music events. So I guess technically you could say 2 stage areas if you really wanted. To be able to do music retreat, music techs, where we could invite people to come in and teach and or learn, or teach and learn from different people and from each other aspects of music while being in the mountains. So music is a core component of our vision. Our vision, especially my side of the vision, but our vision also includes having a library area, so a place to study, but also to have small groups of 6 to 12 people who could be learning and doing discussion topics. That would be an indoor and also an outdoor porch covered area where you can sit on chairs and just read a book and listen to nature. And then I would like to also have a similar setup for the healing side of things. Maybe the library will be meditation initially, but eventually it'd be nice to have an area that is for yoga and massage and healing, sound therapy, and just, the place that is there for health, wellness, and to have, again, small classes where, somebody come in and, maybe we talk about over at the library, we talk about herbs and everything, and then we go over to the healing area and get to try something, and then we'll come back to that because we want a garden area, of course. And of course the food pavilion, both indoor and outdoor area, so you'd be able to go in and buy some stuff, or partake in sort of like a tiny little restaurant kitchen setup. And then outdoors we want to have, of course, and covered, because we will have a non-nursery greenhouse. Yeah, we will have a greenhouse and garden area, because I want to be able to grow food for the people who come and stay, as well as for people to come and purchase, and for ourselves. So want a garden area. Want some chickens. Chickens for the eggs, and to get somebody to do the meat part of it. It's not that we're nervous or afraid or anything like that, just, need a farmhand who'll do some of the work. But have some chickens, primarily for eggs, but also, for meat. And then we want to have some goats, not many, just a couple. We'd like to learn how to milk, and have goats that will be part of the family and the experience, and provide, and maybe 1 or 2 cows. It depends on cows. I'm not sure about. They're pretty big. But, maybe like a couple sheep, so that we can get wool. And, just a few animals. Not a lot, but a couple acres for them. And a couple acres for the garden. Well, not really a couple. Probably just like 1 acre for the garden area. But a couple acres for having, not many. Probably just like between, maybe as few as 4, but somewhere between 4 and 8 RV camper sites, dotted campsites throughout the property for the most part, with one exception coming soon. A few acres for the different buildings, and we may continue to just live in the camper. I mean, that's the kind of how we see things, but we also would like to have 2 or 3 acres that are off to the side to build, perhaps, our own little cabin, where when we get to that stage where retirement's really, we're older, those things, then we can have, somebody else who lives in the camper and helps manage while we do things. And there's a chance that we'd end up having, a camping cabin that's a bit more than a camping cabin for, like, I have the idea of there being a bunkhouse for people who want to come and do work and stay for extended periods of time. So really, this whole idea is how Mike and I want to retire, how we want to live out the rest of our years. Trips now and again. I mean, having the camper, we do have, and But if it doesn't have that nice of a creek, I'm okay. As long as it has a creek, and I'd really like it to be a year-round creek. But that's our goal. That's what we are working towards. And do we have a timeline for it? Well, having just used up our savings, I don't know. I mean, we would definitely prefer for it to happen within the next 2 to 3 years. It not being this year is fine, obviously. And next year, I won't deny though, if we came into the money, if we found people who were like, yes, we'd love to invest with you and actually help make this happen for you, we'll split 50-50 the revenues, or just if we found people who wanted to invest and do this, oh yeah, we'd be up for it a little bit sooner. But we shall see. Everything in its own time, I suppose. And who knows, maybe we've had this dream for a little while, but you never know, things might change. Gladiator. I like singles. Well, I think that pretty much, is our dream. Mike can see himself with Smo for a long time. I want to be teaching. I can see myself teaching, and I can see myself selling stuff we need to sell on eBay, and finding a part-time job, maybe. Just getting more teaching courses, getting more courses. Finding ways that I can help people and get some money, help in return. Long term, I want to manage the food and the library and the food, the library, the healing area. Might do the music and main office. things that happen, most often revolving with it all. It doesn't mean that I'm all about positivism and turning things around. I kind of am, but positivism also really kind of destroyed me last year. Or I let it destroy me. We can play with semantics and all that another day. And the point being, even if you have to go and hide away for a few minutes, a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, a few months, even for like a year or two, if that is what is needed to help you figure out, okay, how do I have this, whatever it is, honestly, I think it's okay. You don't have to be or do anything necessarily. Yeah, I know I added that word necessarily. There are so many caveats with everything. But you don't have to be on social media. You can choose to. You don't have to do videos. You don't have to be positive all the time. You don't have to be depressed all the time. You don't have to be sick all the time. Even if you are sick and depressed and frustrated and stressed out, and I can list so many things because I'm there even now. How do I decide that? How can I have this huge dream knowing the past? How can I have this huge vision? How can I have this huge vision with everything that's happened with last year, with just using up all of our savings? And I think it comes down to the same thing that doing anything comes down to. You just choose it. Now you can come up with reason after reason. You can sit down and you can analyze and say, go through 5, 7, 9, however many levels, depending on who you look to, of asking the question, so why do you want to do that? And why do you want to do that? And why is that? And maybe finding your why is your answer. I mean, it is part of the process. But and this is for another talk, probably multiple talks over time. But when it comes to having a dream, you just decide whether or not you're going to have it. And then you're going to decide whether or not you're going to work towards it. And you can work towards it really actively and, do all these different steps and go seek out the masters who've done it. You can sit back and allow it to be something that manifests all on its own. And you can just let it go and go on your way, and maybe it shows up and you're like, man, I used to have this idea and now it's happening. So our dream is the campground. It is the music area, the library, the food, the experience of community at a place where people come and gather to play music and jam. And if it happens, it is going to be glorious. And if we end up doing something else, I don't know what that something else is, or if that just doesn't work out to happen, I know that there's going to be other ways that something is glorious. Might get frustrated and upset after a few years if we're not working towards the campground, but just like even right now with my frustrations about jobs and concern and overly critical of myself in a lot of ways, it works out. And maybe it doesn't work out as nice or enjoyable as you'd like, but there's going to be something or someone that helps you say, let's just update the dream. Let's dream a little differently. And if it's not for this dream, it's for this other dream. And maybe it's somebody else's dream that you help bring into fruition instead. I'm just rambling at this point. But while I am stopped, and according to my rule, actually, you know what? According to my rules, I could stop this video right now rather than wait until I get up the hill and there is a stoplight. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this video. I hope you have an excellent day, whatever day it is.